friends, how are you? Welcome to Spill the Mystic Tea. This is where we often talk about the things that the spiritual space doesn't always like to say out loud. And in this week's Spill the Mystic Tea, we are delving into the energies for May. I'm channeling the collective energies and sharing so that you can embody these frequencies in your daily life, business, and spiritual practices. It's not about predicting and necessarily what's coming up. I'm here to help you align and be in flow with the energies that we're currently encountering. So let's get into it. Now, a couple of things. I have my soul activation board. It's a board that for me really sort of helps focus the energies, support us in what we're doing, and really bringing through greater awareness and understanding. That's what the board does for me. And I always work with fire energy. I love fire energy, being that I'm a fire sign naturally. And of course, I've got my tea. Now, I've got my tea. How gorgeous. I bought this little beautiful tea for one from Aldi yesterday. Bridgerton. I'm a massive fan of Bridgerton. Love it. It always speaks to me of elegance, which is a real vibe for me in law of attraction, attracting abundance and living with elegance really eases the way to the mindset of all of that. So let's get into it, shall we? For those of you that don't know me, I'm a psychic medium soul coach and have been working professionally in that field for over 25 years. These days I am more mystical by nature, and with that, my mediumship allows me to not just communicate with your loved ones, but allows me to communicate with all energies, all frequencies, because I'm a big believer that we are connected to all things throughout all time and space. That's it. And we are spirit first and foremost. But for me, that's just not some sort of passive saying that gets said and not really thought about it. We live from the spirit of who we are, and that's where these cosmic currents come in. So let's review April 1st. And if we look back at April, I know last month I made the essence of what I felt was that it was an activation. And as I sit here today, I know that is true for many of us. Many of us may feel like we up-leveled our sense of who we are, our identity, and it may have looked like that you have sort of circled back to some of your work in the past, especially if you're in operating with a spiritual business. Maybe there's like a recurrence of some of the offers that you've had in the past, some of the trainings, maybe you're circling back to working with a particular guide. Maybe a guide has shown up that you haven't seen for a while in your spiritual journey. And what's going on there, it's not that you're going backwards. That's not it at all. What it is an opportunity for you to be showing up with a new level of authority in this work. So coming to deeper understandings. Often when we go through our spiritual journey, we're not just going like this. We're actually circling around, going deeper layers, deeper depths of who we are. And that's what this activation has been. And yes, for those of you that have stepped into that change and stepped into that new level of authority of who you are, you will see increases in abundance, increases, and I will say income for those of you that are in your spiritual business coming through. And the work that you've been doing in April has been preparing you for that. So other than that, April may have been feeling like there's been a little bit of a tug of war, like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, like that sort of, I've got this sort of feeling going on. And that may have felt for the way that it is for some of you. And remember that this is the energy that is out there collectively. So if you're feeding into that, if you're feeding into the chaos, that's the kind of experience that you would be having. And I have been saying right from December that we have really needed to be focused and attuning into our intentions. And with that, I had the realization the other day that those intentions are really at the forefront of expressing our spirituality and expressing our connection to the divine and to the universe. So it's really sort of pulling us in through that thread of connection and that thread of energy to really keep us focused and where we want to be, as opposed to where we can be reacting, is I guess, reacting to the energies that are there, as opposed to being the master of our own energies, if that makes sense. So I do feel like we need to keep flowing in that way, especially over the next month and the next 6 weeks, to be honest. So we need to keep that focus. We need to keep looking at our daily practices, our daily connections, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute as I move into May. So let's just take a breath. I'm just pouring my tea. It is Spill the Mystic tea after all. Ooh, that looks a little warm. Like, I just might let that cool a little bit, I think. Okay, a little bit of peppermint tea. So, where do we start the month of May? And we actually start the month of May with a full moon coming up in a couple of days. It's on Saturday, the 2nd of May, and it's a full moon in Scorpio. Now, I will say I have no formal training in astrology. What I do is the mystic way is I feel it. It's my, it's, I feel it. It's my connection to the universe, to the moon, and I'm a big believer that we have the inherent ability to communicate with all consciousness, multidimensional communication, not just mediumship with our loved ones. So it's a communication process of communicating with the moon for me, because I ask the questions. And now there's nothing so special about me. I believe you can do this too. So essentially, it's about asking the questions. And when I delve into the full moon for this coming weekend, we are already starting to feel its influence. This moon is going to shake things up, and it will have varying degrees of influence depending on who you are, how you flow with the moon, how you flow with your emotions. Generally, if you have a lot of healing, or in Spirit's word, a lot of clearing that needs to occur, and you're resisting that, and there's not a lot of that kind of soul healing going on in your life, then what you will find is that this full moon energy will be tough. It will be a struggle to move through. It will be wanting, so you may have shit come up basically, or just feel like shit and not know why. You'll lean into overwhelm, you'll lean into disruptive energies. That's the indication that you need to go deeper, that you need to look at what's really going on. What is this moon highlighting for you? And really take a moment to accept that you deserve healing, that you deserve to give that to yourself. No one's going to do it for you. It's a conscious commitment. So no one's going to do that for you, but I urge you to take a moment to do that. And if that is something, it is flowing with the energies, if self-healing, if understanding what's really going on for you is something that you would like to do, then I do have a Mother's Day offer at the moment where I'm going to hold you. We'll get together live on Zoom. I'm going to hold you. It's called my Sacred Soul Recalibration. It's a healing. I use my mediumship to dig below the surface and find out what's really going on for you. It's a limited time only, but by all means, if that resonates for you, if that speaks to you with where you're at and with what's going on with this full moon, then please comment below, message me, reach out. I will send you the information. And remember, this is only available Mother's Day special for the next week or so. But yes, digging into that full moon, because this full moon is going to shake things up to varying degrees for everyone. And if you are someone that is aligned, that does flow with ease with the moon, if you are rooted in your sacred feminine, then you'll find that what does come up comes up with ease, that it does shift things for you and move you even closer to the authority that you are. So that's being authority in your life, being the master of your co-creative abilities with the universe, mastering your life purpose and who you are with that. This full moon is actually going to move us closer to that in ways that have structure behind them, is what I'm hearing. So while you may sort of encounter a little disruptive fluff, for those know that it's positive on the other side. So there are varying degrees of what's going on here with this full moon. And I would say to you that if you are aligned, if you are rooted in your sacred feminine, your connection to the universe, and have a natural flow of self-healing, then look for the gifts that are coming up with your spiritual practices, with your spiritual awareness, and in particular, if you have a spiritual business, know that there is a massive shift happening in that way for you this weekend that is going to really have you standing firm in your expertise, your authority, and what you bring and how you serve humanity. And yes, the flow-on effect of that is I'm seeing wealth, and what I'm seeing is an image of gold energy flowing in, which for me is the color gold is queen energy. It's wealth. It's a natural flow of wealth coming in. So just feel into that. And that's all because of the work that we did through April. This weekend is the culmination of April, the April energy. And it's almost like I'm sort of seeing the ribbon being tied on the gift. So, so know that that's where we start the month, finishing off the April energies before we move into the rest of May. So let's feel into that, shall we? And I do just feel like I need to pull a card for this. So to sort of shift us off, eh? So I am using my Spirit Guide Wisdom deck. I first channeled these 21 years ago, 2005. They are individual Spirit Guide Wisdom and have been a staple in my work ever since then, although I do not use them to do personal readings for people. So here we have the Egyptian worldly abundance. And I feel like there's another card that needs to come. Oh, there we go. Faith and Jesus. And I'm certainly get a feeling of what things look like on the outside may not necessarily be true with what's going on the inside. What's going on the inside may be truth, coming to even greater wisdoms and understandings, and leaning more into your truth and your wisdom and what needs to be shared. There's, for those of you that are mystics, look for down the channeling of new wisdom, channeling of new understandings, and looking for you to really take that to heart, but also know it's not for you to hold on to. It's for you to share. It's for you to bring to the world, because we really, really need it. And there is going to be some of that coming through. And what I'm sort of seeing is like a wheel, you know, and how each spoke is part of the whole. So we actually need your guidance. We need your wisdom coming through. We need you to be brave enough to be stepping up and sharing that. And if you want to do that in a safe environment, then my Skool community, the Sacred and Sassy Collective, is where you have the opportunity to do that. It's where I can support you to share your information. It's where I can guide you to expand and grow your abilities in this area, in being a mystic, in channeling, in expanding your intuition, growing your mediumship, and being able to express it in the world. That's what it's here for. That's my work. And if that speaks to you, then by all means, you'll see the link below over to our Skool community, the Sacred and Sassy Collective. And based on this insight, that is something that I'll be putting through and sharing and giving opportunity coming this month for people to share their insights and their wisdom, because that's the guidance. That's what's been what Spirit is saying. So therefore, I'm going to find a way to honor that in some way. So that's the first thing, is that we need everybody's wisdom. And I guess this is my way of partly doing that, of stepping up and sharing what it is that we need. I am sort of seeing the collective, and I'm getting the word crumbling. So there is a real, in the way that we've known the world, in the energies that we've existed with, in the way that we have collectively been co-creating with the universe, that is crumbling. There is a new world order coming. And come the end of May, we are going to see the first real shift, the first real actions being taken to actually pull us out of this crumbling. I know in the lead up to this, I have felt that around the 27th of May, excuse me. Well, that's so nice. I have felt that around the 27th of May, there is a massive disruptive occurrence. And this is collective, it's worldwide. I feel like it's got to do with the war. I have been making some predictions around, I predicted the war back in December. And so around, I'm going to stick with around May 27th, we are going to see a big disruptive occurrence. I'm not sure, I'm not being given what that looks like. All I know is that the energies are disrupted. So there is some sort of, I don't know if it's a big unexpected explosion, if it's, the war levels up, if there is an occurrence on US soil. I'm not given any of that. So I just have to stick with the fact that all I can do is know that the energies are massively disrupted. It is a worldwide occurrence, but it is the beginning of the end. What I do know, and what I've been saying for most of this year, is that come the middle of June, there is a sense of peace. There is things sort of start to balance out at that point. So I feel like that this disruption that's occurring at the end of May is really what leads us into that peace. So one of the things that I know about the soul's journey and the way that we co-create with the universe is the fact that we've often got to go through the shit and the yucky stuff and the breakdown to shift into new vibrations, to shift into new energies. And we've got to go through that crumbling phase before we actually start to come out of it. And I see us clawing our way out of it, to be honest. But there will be quick movement. There will be very quick movement. I feel like once that happens, the world leaders, the ones who have been like the Mark Carneys of the world, the European leaders, Mark Carney being the Canadian Prime Minister, our Australian Prime Minister, they very quickly come together to move us forward and take control of this. The world will be a very different place come the end of 2026. And I'm not feeling all the way along, I've been saying that this is the decline of the US. And I feel like that is the new world order, that the decline of the US as a dominant force will no longer be, and that is coming to be towards the end of 2026. So whatever this occurrence is at the end of May really brings us into that situation where the new governments, or not new governments, but the governments gather together and create this new world order. And the world is a very different structure at the end of this year. One that I actually feel has a lot more balance, has a lot more communication, people listening to one another, people creating together. So it has what I would say has a bit more feminine energy in it. Yes, that's not to say that, people are still billionaires are still going to try it on. And, you know, all of that patriarchy stuff that's been going on is not going to disappear quickly, and it's not going to disappear overnight. But it just feels like by the time we get to October, the end of the year, there is a lot more balance and there's a lot more cohesion and working together to achieve the world moving forward. People having a unified intention, not just intentions of looking after their own countries or serving themselves, as a lot do with these oligarchies that are leading most of the world, a lot of the world right now. That shifts, that changes. And one of the things that comes of that is progress on climate change is what I'm sensing. So this is really great. Now, one of the things that we have to question is the fact that as this is happening collectively, this also happens personally in our own lives. So I'm just going to take another swig of tea to just feel into that space and what does it mean for us on a personal level if you're watching this. I'm getting that we're not necessarily going to have a massive big disruption in our personal lives at the end of May. What we've been having those sort of disruptions and those sort of shifts and changes leading into our own new world order already. We've been experiencing those. So it's just like another shift and putting on a new coat, if you will, is what I'm sort of seeing. Putting on a new wardrobe, stepping into yourself. So that journey is progressing. What is going to be there for each of us that are in alignment? And that's the big question. Have you been doing the work? Are you moving into seeking alignment? Are you co-creating with the universe? Are you, really sitting in who you are in spirit? Because if you've been doing that and if you've been allowing yourself to open up, to shift, to step into a greater authority of who you are and really master your spirit self, if that's you, then you are going to have a very different experience of life come the end of the year. You will have your own new world order going on. And that's exciting. That's because what it means is what you've been working towards, what you've been manifesting, what you've been putting out there is all happening. May not be happening as you fully expect it, but you're going to be delighted anyway. And this means that some of you are still going to experience different shifts in your work area, how you express your spirituality and who you are and how you serve humanity. So your businesses are going to shift and change. And I want you to allow that to happen. Allow that to happen. It also means that some of you that have been working in jobs, I can feel the second half of the year is going to create changes there. Yes, some of you will change jobs. No, you may be pushed into it. You may choose, but all of it is an up level in some way. So even if you feel stuck in that way, then know that the universe is still supporting you and you just need to be asking the right questions. I'm getting, there's really no such thing as divine timing in this instance. So really sort of be asking the right questions to move you forward and be brave enough to face those fears that it's going to bring up. Because remember, I sort of said Jesus and faith. So what I'm talking about here is the rewards are the worldly abundance from the Egyptians. Egyptians, for me, represent financial worldly riches and abundance. When you think about the tombs, they were buried with gems, you know, they were a wealthy society. Although very, very mystical with those Egyptian pyramids, hey. So, and a lot of their wealth, what I'm getting, came from mysticism. So if that's you, if that sounds like you, then lean into that. Definitely lean into that. And if you need some support, then know that my one-on-one sessions are there for that. We can definitely dig into what you need to do, while actually also clearing the energies. My sessions are not just a whole heap of information and off you go. We'll work to clear the energies, to heal, to bring through what is there and what's blocking you, what you need to know to shift, to change. Plus, I'll give you the tools. So just know that that's there. Reach out. But yeah, so those changes in the second half of the year is Jesus and having faith. Because some of those changes will feel uncertain, will be a little scary for you, but no, we are setting ourselves up for a new world order come that last quarter of the year. We'll see those changes beforehand. It's the last quarter of the year that the results will be there. So I want to leave that with you because this is the flow for May, hey? If you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate. Ask, comment below where you see this video, and I will be there to answer for you by all means. And if you are looking to work deeper with these energies and to really create greater alignment in your life and deepen and strengthen your connection with spirit, then please come join me in my Skool community, the Sacred and Sassy Collective, because that is the work that we do there. We will be diving deeper into the energies for May and really creating more alignment with them. And you always have an invitation to come and join me and let me support you express who you are in this world and how you serve humanity. So have a great month, and I will see you next time.